A couple days ago, Bernie Sanders was hospitalized, and according to his campaign, it was because of some arterial blockage, and he received a procedure to put in a couple stents. My personal opinion was that they were downplaying a heart attack. Many people said that Bernie had a heart attack. However, Bernie supporters said it was simply angina. For those that don't know the difference, first, not a doctor, here's my general understanding from Wikipedia. Angina is when you get some blocked blood flow, but no tissue damage, and they can do the same procedure. And a heart attack is when the blood flow stops and you get tissue damage. The tissue starts dying because there's no oxygen. Bernie Sanders had a heart attack. This is the breaking news. This is from yesterday at 6 p.m. And let me just stress my complete disgust with the press and politics. Bernie had a heart attack, and I feel for him. I really do. I wish him the best. He seems to be in good spirits. He left the hospital looking better. I wish no ill will on anybody, and I certainly hope he recovers to the full extent of his abilities. I believe if Bernie Sanders is to lose this race, it should be because of his ideas, not because of his heart. That being said, when you get politicians who withhold this information, which is extremely vital to the health of our nation, I am personally offended. We have a right to know if the person who wants to be the president suffered a heart attack or not. Now, here's the thing. They published this story at 6 p.m. on a Friday. You know why? The story's dead. Here it is. Saturday morning. This video will probably get will not get nearly as many views as a Tuesday video would. This is a fact. The press people know this. So they said issue a vague statement. Then Friday night, then we'll publish the truth. And sure enough, when I tweeted about it, I got like 100 retweets. And it's, the first breaking tweet, I think got like 300, and then the follow-up breaking down got like 100. Both of those are low for a breaking story of this magnitude. When Bernie Sanders was first hospitalized and I tweeted about it, got way more, like 1,000 or something. I don't know, maybe less. The point is, they do this on purpose. This way, no one hears that Bernie Sanders had a heart attack. So I'll tell you what. I want to make sure this is clear, that I want Bernie to be healthy, and I think this doesn't detract from his ideas. But as I stated, the health of a president is important. In my video, I said, listen, people care about whether or not the person who's going to be president can, hold the office for the amount of time required, which may be 8 years. Bernie Sanders is 78 years old and had a heart attack. And they're trying to play the PR game. This offended me. I know how the PR game works. They do press releases on Tuesday when they want you to hear about it. And when they don't want anyone to know, they do a Friday night. And here it is. The news is now breaking, and the soonest I can get to it is Saturday morning. Let's read a little bit. Bernie Sanders' doctors say the Democratic presidential candidate suffered a heart attack on Tuesday. The 78-year-old's campaign staff revealed the shock news late Friday, at the same time as he was discharged from the hospital after undergoing a successful heart procedure. Now, I want to stress, if they had the intention of being honest with America, they would have said outright, Senator Sanders has suffered a heart attack. He's received a procedure. No, they said blockage. That is. I just can't stand. It's all lies. It's all manipulation. Okay, they're not going to tell you the truth. They're going to do everything in their power to make sure you believe what they want you to believe, so that you vote for them. Bernie Sanders knows. His campaign knows this is the end. He's going to lose a lot. And they are still trying to lie? I'm disgusted. I cannot stand politics and politicians and the media. And they play this game. So I'll tell you what. If you like my work, if you support what I do, please consider sharing this. Look, I'm angered at his campaign for playing this game. Now we can argue it was his doctors who released the information. The Sanders campaign never admitted it. Fine. Bernie Sanders had a heart attack and didn't tell the American people. And now he's going to be on a debate stage. And I'm sure this will become a big issue. Hopefully, this news makes the rounds. Look, I think it's unfortunate that Sanders had a heart attack and it's going to hurt his campaign. But the people have a right to know. If you want to be president, you should be forthright immediately. Yes, I am 78 years old. I had a heart attack. Because that's going to impact how people vote for you. When they do this, what they're really saying is, it may impact you, but I'm not going to tell you because I want you to vote for me. They say Sanders was rushed to Desert Springs Hospital in Las Vegas on Tuesday night after complaining of chest discomfort. And the Vermont senator's staffers initially stated that he had a blocked artery, which was a lie. Okay, it's technically the truth. I love, it's the best kind of the truth, technically. Yes, a heart attack is a blocked artery. And then the tissue dies. And you're rushed to the emergency room, or maybe not the emergency, but you're rushed to the hospital in a medical emergency for an emergency medical procedure to try and save your heart. The 2020 contender subsequently underwent a medical procedure to have 2 stents inserted into his chest. I have heard, this is just, I don't have a source pulled up, but I've heard there was a little bit more than just the stents, but I don't know what that means. At the same time as his campaign staff updated the public on his medical diagnosis, Sanders left the Las Vegas hospital following a 3-night stay. And you know what they did by putting out this vague and technical information? They sparked a political debate among people over whether or not he had angina or a heart attack. It was just chest discomfort. And he went for a checkup, and it turns out he had some arterial blockage. No, he had a very serious heart attack and was rushed to the hospital. The popular politician was accompanied by his wife, Jane, and the couple waved to supporters outside the facility. Appearing in high spirits, Sanders even raised his arm to give a defiant fist pump. A clear signal that he is not bowing out of the Democratic primary battle. Well, you know what? I'll put it this way. I don't think he should have, based on the heart attack, but I do think he should have now because he was unwilling to be honest with the American people. And let me just clarify, because all the Sanders supporters are going to come out and be like, that's not fair, Tim. Listen, I know how the PR game works. A Friday night release of the information is on purpose so you don't know about it. And at the very least, they could have said Senator Sanders suffered a heart attack, but they don't want to because they would rather win. It's more important that they win and they get power than you decide whether or not a 78-year-old man who had a heart attack should be our president. You see the point? I don't think that should hurt his arguments, but we have to recognize we have a lineup of presidents who are retirees. And I mean no disrespect to older people, but the point is, at a certain age, we have to recognize there is a great risk to our nation and well-being by having a bunch of candidates who are in their 70s. That includes Donald Trump. However, Trump is the incumbent, so it's kind of like, but you got Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders. No, come on, man. We've got people who are younger who are running. Even Elizabeth Warren is a little too old. Okay, in my opinion. I don't know what else you can do. Tulsi Gabbard's 38. They say in a statement released to coincide with his discharge from the hospital, Sanders declared, after 2.5 days in the hospital, I feel great. And after taking a short time off, I look forward to getting back to work. He will now fly back to his home in Burlington, Vermont for some downtime before getting back on the campaign trail. So here's the thing. When the story came out, some of the doctors on Twitter, whether they're really doctors, I don't know, but people were saying they were doctors, said, when you have angina and you get a stent put in, it's like a through the wrist thing, and they place it, and then you could be one tweet said you could be golfing that same day. When they said Bernie Sanders is canceling all events for the foreseeable future and canceling his ads, I said no way. It's a heart attack. It's a heart attack. And I bring this up because I don't think he'll be getting back to work anytime soon. I really don't. I think that a heart attack, I was reading it could be a month of downtime. He will now fly back. Sanders is the oldest candidate vying to take on Donald Trump in 2020 and is third in the polls behind Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren. Warren is 70? Come on, man. You know what? Something is wrong, okay? Something is wrong, and something is wrong with Gen Xers and millennials. I get it. The Democrats do have younger candidates. You got Tulsi Gabbard. You got Pete Buttigieg. Even Cory Booker is not that old. But what is going on now where we're latching on to these people who should be retired? Look, you don't have to retire if you don't want to. And I mean no disrespect for people who are older, but seriously, Bernie Sanders just suffered a heart attack. And this goes for Trump the same as anybody else. The only real argument I could say in terms of Trump is that he is the incumbent. He got elected before he was in his 70s. Now he's in his 70s. He actually kind of doesn't look like it. It's kind of weird. Biden looks like he's in his 80s. Warren actually doesn't look like she's 70, I'm actually surprised she is. But Bernie does look 78. I would say in terms of Bernie and Biden, I'm sorry, man. Look, I respect you've done a lot of work for this country, and times have changed, opinions have changed, but you've done a lot of work for this country. You've earned your seat down by the fire. But at this point, something needs to be said. I just don't understand it. In the end, something is happening where there's just, I don't know, there's just so much going on. There's a fractured social base. There's people on the right who don't see the world the same way as the people on the left. And the best the left can come up with is a bunch of senior citizens. And I'm not saying to be disrespectful. I'm saying the leading moderate candidate, Joe Biden. The next leading candidate behind Biden, or actually who's overtaken Biden, 70-year-old Elizabeth Warren. And then the third place candidate, 78-year-old Bernie Sanders. It's incredible. I feel like people don't actually care about what the president is supposed to be and what the president is supposed to do. The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces and the head of the executive branch. That doesn't mean they pass laws. It means they enforce laws. Okay, you understand this? And they can veto things. I get it. There's branches. But the point I'm trying to make is, shouldn't we have someone with military experience, who does have policy ideas, but it's always just so confusing to me why Bernie Sanders running for president makes sense to anybody. Look, I get it. Okay, I liked Bernie a lot in 2016. I like a lot of his what he's fought for, but Bernie Sanders is a policy guy, right? And so is Joe Biden. It's always interesting to me how there's like different classes. It's almost like an RPG, right? You've got Trump, who's like a tradesman, a businessman, and that's like grounds for why he should be elected. Then you've got military personnel, people like Pete Buttigieg and Tulsi Gabbard, and then you have lawmakers. And they each bring their own interesting perspective into what makes the most sense. Unsurprising that Tulsi Gabbard wants to end regime change wars because she's fought in them. That's her main goal, her personal experience. Unsurprising that the policy guys are very big on what laws need to be passed, and people like Bernie are talking about domestic, economic and healthcare policy. And completely unsurprising that a businessman like Donald Trump is talking about trade agreements with these other countries. It's really, really interesting how this plays out. I feel like you could almost be like, you could give someone a class, like it's seriously an RPG, like military, politics. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. I think you get the point. I have tremendous respect for Bernie. Everything he's fought for. He's lived a long, storied life. He's done some incredible things. And like his ideas or hate his ideas, him, as much as any other politician who's fighting for what they believe in, so long as they act in service of their country to the best of their abilities, I can respect that. Now, you can argue if Bernie truly loves America, fine, whatever. The point is, he served his country as a lawmaker for most of his life. It's time Biden, Bernie, and yes, even Warren, at this point, I do not believe they should be running for president. And again, the only reason I would say yes to Trump is he's the incumbent. Like, the only reason I think Trump's like, okay, I get it, is that he ran before he was in his 70s, 68, I think, 67, 68. And now he's, I think, 72. I could be wrong. But he's the incumbent, so it's kind of like, I'm not going to be like he should step down or something. I get that. But where's the leadership from young people? Where's the charisma and the energy and the ideas? Like I mentioned, I know we have Tulsi Gabbard, Andrew Yang, Buttigieg. I understand all that, but they're not the front runners. So something's happening with young people where they're looking at these older people like, don't you realize you are inheriting the world, okay? I don't get it. We have these millennials who have never grown up, and they're still being like, tell us what to do, Bernie, tell us what to do. But it's like, no, you go do it. You take up the mantle. These people will not be around for much longer, and I mean that with all due respect, but it's true. This is the way things work. At a certain point, you must pick up the weight carried by those who came before you. Why are the Democrats supporting people who are in their 70s as the front runners? Why? Find some youthful energy, but perhaps that's the problem. I feel like we really do need someone who's like late 30s and youthfully exuberant. I hope that in the next debate, we can see Yang or Tulsi really show us that energy. Because you know what? You know what I really, really hate about the Democrats? And this is what Trump has. It's exuberance. When Hillary Clinton says, I can't remember exactly what she said, but Trump says you'd be in jail. That off the cup, quick, witty snap. And it was like reality TV, like WWE, like, woo, everybody's like, whoa. That showed Trump was quick on his feet. And he made a point. I can't remember exactly what he said. You guys will all remember. It'll be all over the comments about what Hillary said. But the point is, you look at the Democrats, and they're all very stocky and stodgy. And yes, when I am president, we are going to end the Remain in Mexico policy with an executive order. It's like, okay, Castro, I get it. You're trying to act like Obama. Same thing for Beto O'Rourke. They're all trying to act like Obama. Can someone get up on the stage and just be a kind of like left-wing Trump? Can be like a Democrat Trump and be like, Joe, stop. No, I don't want to hear it, man. Joe, I respect your career. I respect what you've done, but please, okay, please, you need to pass the torch down. And Booker, don't give me that. You're not Spartacus. Move on. Buttigieg, you're reading from a playbook that was like generic Democratic responses, okay? Even Tulsi, I would like to see actually, I respect Tulsi for being, a major in the National Guard and for being very stoic and it is rather stereotypically presidential. I'm not trying to, I mean that respectfully, that, everyone's trying to pull that, demeanor and be, very, stand up tall and say, listen, we as a nation need to understand. No. I don't want to see that. I don't care anymore. I'm just so over this. The politicking, the posturing, the BS. Dude, Bernie had a heart attack, man. Be honest, okay? I want to see somebody get up on stage and just be honest and say, someone will be like, if someone said to me, Tim, what about that one time you did this? I'd be like, yeah. And you want to rag it? You want to come at me and say, 6 years ago, you did this, and you should. I hear you. I agree. I think we need to understand that times change. We need to do better. And okay, right on, great. Well, here's what I want to do. Right, let's not talk about what you're upset about someone did in the past. They're talking about what Biden did in the '80s. Like, oh please, dude, it's all fake. It's the fakest, just fake. I just can't stand it. I want to see someone get up on the stage and just be like, yeah. Everybody's losing their minds, and we need some reality. This is the thing. Trump has that about him. Okay, that's what people think. You look at Trump, and he's just gonna say it. He's just gonna say it, and then you get all these people in the press, even Nate Silver, saying Trump just confesses. Okay, the Democrats look like they're full of it, and this is a perfect example. Look, I'm sad to hear the news, but I'm glad he's okay. But this is the problem. He should have come out right away and said, yup, I've been working as hard as I possibly can. You know what I would have rather heard? If Bernie's team said, Bernie's been pushing 16-hour days, traveling over the world and fighting for you. And unfortunately, it caught up with him. But rest assured, he will not back down and nothing will stand in his way. I would have been like, whoa, wow, that's bold. Instead, what do we get? It was a blockage, don't worry. And then a Friday night, it's a heart attack. Okay, I'm done. Stick around. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. I will see you all then.